Oh, shoot. Hi. I was nearly going to clap again then, did you see that? I was nearly going to clap again. Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. As mentioned in last week's video, there's a bit of a change today. I'm not filming in the Moorland, so I've had to come away with work. So welcome to Barcelona. If you've never been to Barcelona before, you're going to love it. I'm going to love it. Well, I'm not, it's going to be very busy, but I've managed to get some free time. I thought I'd come back to the room and make a quick video before I hit the minibar. What we're going to be looking at today is the Casio World Time, so let's just get straight into it. Okay, so we've got the camera adjusted. Hopefully I'm not going to kick it too much. And what I'll do is I shall take the watch off this little beauty. So here we have the Casio World Time. Just because I know that there's some hyper watch geeks out there that want to know the details on the back. Hopefully you can see that. I tried to get it so that the camera was in good light. So this is the AE-1200WH, which I'm guessing stands for World Hour. Probably should have checked that beforehand. Go through some features of the watch. Start off with the what it's constructed of. The band itself here is completely made from stainless steel. It has a stainless steel back. The plate on the inside here is made from stainless steel. It's water resistant to 10 bars, I believe it is, which is 100 meters. It should say it on there. Yes, it's water resistant to 10 bars. So you know you can wash. You don't really need to worry about this watch. You can put it on and you can just wear it. It's water resistant. Are you going to be able to go diving with it? No, definitely not. So stainless steel. This is rolled stainless steel. I probably need to bring this closer to the counter, to the microphone. Imagine it's in my hand. It has a very tinny sound. Is it bad? Yes and no. However, when I get to the price of this watch towards the end of the you'll be able to see that, you make exceptions for that. This is my first EDC watch video. This should be a thing. This should be a thing. Everybody mark this date down. Anyway, so it's a bit tinny, but it's very light. When you pick up a larger, more expensive watch that has some heft, some weight to it, a lot of people, you get that. If it's heavy, it must be expensive. This isn't heavy. It's not heavy at all. In fact, it's quite a joy to wear. It's not particularly heavy at all. You've got it on, but it's not a big, bulky, heavy watch. The clasp itself is a single pin clasp, so if you can see in there, that's where you squeeze together and you can see the teeth moving. There's a single pin on the top, and it just pops in. If you push on one side, which is very useful, it doesn't open. On this side it doesn't open. You have to pinch the two together for it to open, which is great. You get that with other watches or the cheap watches, and you can push it and it does. You don't get a safety clasp. A lot of manufacturers, you'll be able to close it, then you'll pop something over the top. It's not happened to me, but I haven't done any sort of strenuous activity with this. So knocks and jolts, you might find that it does pop that open because these are on springs, but it's not a Casio G-Shock, so you're not going to be mountaineering in a watch like this, hopefully. So that's the manufacturer of these bits. The front bit, although it looks like it's completely made from stainless steel, the case itself is made from plastic, which is one of the downsides of this watch. Now, I'm guessing that Casio did this because this is what the watches were made like, and this is how the watches looked in the 1970s and 80s. This is a very retro timepiece. It's very similar to the Casio Royale watch that was worn by Daniel Craig. In fact, one of the nicknames for this watch is the Casio Royale because of its similarity to that. But it really is a retro kind of styled watch for those fans that grew up in the 70s, grew up in the 80s with watches like this. To have this milled from stainless steel as well would have added to the price, would have added to the weight. However, if they did make a full stainless steel version, I think that would sell like hotcakes. The surround here is made from plastic, and the glass isn't glass, it's a polycarbonate see-through perspex style as well. I've had this and I look after this, hopefully you can see we've got some little tiny micro scratches on there. I do try to look after it as much as possible, but it does scratch. Do you know, stuff it, let's get to the price. Okay, so here in the UK, this retails from between £15 to £20. It's so cheap. I believe it's roughly the same in the US as well, so you're probably looking between $10 to $20, not expensive. If this died on me, if I dropped this, if I got this smashed, I'd just go out tomorrow and I'd buy a new one. Is this a throwaway culture that we live in? Yeah, maybe. Let's not dive into that too much. But, you know, you have the advantage that if something did go wrong with this, you could go out and you could buy a new one pretty much straight away. So as I say, that's one of the slight downsides. It would be awesome if they could make this out of stainless steel. I'd definitely buy one. A lot of the decals are very reminiscent of those 1980s watches as well. On the face, it's split up into 4 zones. I believe the LCD at the back is just one whole piece, and this plastic bit just separates them up. This one here in the top left-hand corner is an analog watch. If you can see, it's 10 to. Well, actually, that's the UK time, which will make sense in a minute. In this top corner, which you can see where it says signal, that is the alarms. This watch has 5 alarms and an hourly time signal. The world here, hopefully you can see that this area that I'm in is highlighted in black, and then you have the time at the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly put it back into UK time. So you can have, with this watch, you can have 4 easy access time zones. So at the moment, because I use this in the UK the most, I know that it's 10 to 6. UK, Europe, we all work in 24-hour clocks. It's Saturday, but unfortunately for UK, well, actually for the rest of the world users, I know in the US it's September the 28th, but it's only America that has it in that format. And Casio went with that, so you just have to get kind of used to that. Buttons wise, very typical of Casio watches. So this is your mode button, takes you through all of the different modes. If you need to adjust anything as you go through the different sections here on the bottom, you can adjust up here. The light is so 1980s. I love this light. It's I believe 2 LEDs in the corners there, which you can see just illuminates that. And then this is your search button, or this is your function button. So as you go through the different sections with this one, then you can select the different things. Sorry, I was looking at the watch then and not the screen. So to be able to change any of these, click on adjust, and then you can go through and you can change all of the different settings, which, again, fairly standard. Press it again and you'll be able to come out. On the front screen, as I mentioned before, this has 4 world time zones that you can set to it, so that if you are in a business and you've got colleagues in New York, Madrid and Sydney, whilst in the UK, which is your main one, hopefully you'll notice now when I press this bottom one, time zone 2 is Madrid, and you can see what time it is in Madrid. Press it again you can see Sydney, there's a time zone in Sydney, and you'll also notice that this marker, if I get that close enough, that marker now has this area highlighted. If I press it again, it should go to New York. Oh no, sorry, I changed it to LAX, didn't I? So you can see that the west coast of North America then highlights. Then when I move it again back to the UK, you can see you've got UK, Lisbon, West Africa there as well. So that's quite useful actually. So like for instance, when I'm here now in Madrid, well actually sorry, I'm in Barcelona, put it on Madrid time and it's nice and simple. What this one up in the top left hand corner though does is it keeps it on the first time. So if you're ever trying to think, well, you know, what time is it back at home in the UK, you can quickly glance back at that. So to go through the different functions, first one that we have here is world time. Now hopefully you'll be able to see this line. There are, dang, should have looked, a plethora of world zones that you can go through. So Madrid, Paris, Rome, Berlin, Stockholm, Athens, Cairo, of course it's Cairo. And you'll be able to see as well, hopefully in Moscow, that little area starts to move there. Did you just see that it moved? Karachi, Delhi. You can see that it's moving across dependent on the different times, Singapore, Hong Kong, Beijing, and so on, till it gets all the way over Sydney, and then you've got Wellington, New Zealand, and then it pops over to the other side with Anchorage and so on till you get back to the UK. Well, for me, I get back to the UK. That's quite useful. Click it again, you then have your alarms. You have 5 independent alarms with this, and then you also have an hourly time signal. So at the moment, the hourly time signal is on. You can see there it says signal. If I wanted to turn that off, you could do. You then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alarms. If I wanted to turn this one on, you can see that it's on, and then I know that I've got an alarm because it's an alarm up there, but I don't tend to use the alarms that much. Especially with alarms on mobile phones, it's just so much easier nowadays, isn't it? That's quite nice. I like to have my hourly time signal. I really do appreciate that on not on Casio phones. I wish on wristwatches. I wish more people did that. I actually find it quite useful just when it beeps on the hour. Next on, you have a countdown timer. So there you've got start. If you want to stop it, and then you can reset it. If you wanted to adjust what this was, if you keep your finger down the top right hand corner, then you can change that. Next we've got stopwatch. Start it, you've got tenths of a second up here, there's your seconds, minutes and hours, so it goes up to 24 hours. If you want to, you can stop and then reset it, or while it's going, you can use the reset button, which is adjust, so that you can get split lap times, which is quite useful if you're doing some sort of timing and you want some time to be able to record things and write things down. You then hit this button again, and hopefully you'll see that the seconds jump because it's actually been doing it in the background. Stop, reset, and then back to the beginning. Each of the different sections has its own beep, apart from when you return to the main normal watch face, and then again, you know, it's fairly typical of Nokia. Why do I keep saying Nokia? Why do I keep saying Nokia? I mean, do you know why? It's because I'm in the zone. I'm in the retro zone, and I'm thinking about my Nokia 5110 with Snake. Oh yeah. So if you listen, or maybe do I need to do it here? Did you hear that? Yeah, it's great. Do you know what? I love this watch that much because it just reminds me of the first watches that I had during the 80s. It's a great watch. Some of the features, for me, the world time, having the ability to be able to just quickly jump between these whilst I'm working away, it was just the perfect opportunity for me to be able to make some content on this watch. It just seemed daft not to. One of the downside, which it's not really a downside, so let's say for example, you know, I'm here in Barcelona, so I put it onto my second time zone so I know what time it is. If I then go into some of the other things and think, oh, you just need to do a stopwatch, and then go back, it always resets it to time zone 1. It's just something that, although it's not a hindrance, it has caught me out on a few occasions where I'm like, oh, it's fine, you know, I've got 3 hours before I need to be at my next meeting with the client, to then only realise that I haven't got 3 hours and I've got 10 minutes to rush across the city. So that's a bit of a quirk if you do use the time zones on this, just to get your head around. Other than that, as I usually go, is there anything that I'd change about it? Yes and no. Yes and no. So this is just like the watch I had in the 80s, and I love it because it is just like the watch I had in the 80s. However, if they did do a version where this was metal, the surround was metal, and I mean, obviously it'd be awesome to have a nice sapphire display in there, but instead, if it wasn't a sapphire display and it was just a nice mineral crystal glass, that would be great. And if it was twice the price, who cares? I'd still buy it. But I love this watch. It's such a retro chic watch, and I hope you like it, because I do. It's awesome. So there you go. Shall we turn the camera around? Do you want to see my face? Do you want to see my face? Let's do this. And we're back in the room. Next, it's me, next to me clothes. Yeah, so as I say, just a quick video. I wanted to make some content. I didn't want to not make some this week, although it is coming to you a little bit later, so I do apologise about that, but life, work, romance, it all gets in the way, doesn't it? So I'll publish this, I'll make sure it's on Instagram, and yeah, great. So I'll leave a link to this watch down in the description if you want to check that out. That's always appreciated. Any subsidies that I get through those affiliate links goes straight back into the channel. I'm not driving around in a nice Mercedes-Benz. It just goes straight back into the channel. Check me out on Instagram. I'm probably the most busiest on there. I do some stuff on Facebook, but really I'm on Instagram the most. Moorlander _EDC. And yeah, I hope you have a great day. Like the video if you like my content. Subscribe if you like my content. Share if you like my content. You know where this is going, don't you? Okay, cool. Stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC.